The Tampa Housing Authority says it will be working on a plan to figure out what comes next. It owns more than half of the property on top of Zion, but there's a long way to go, and there could be even more graves underneath buildings that archaeologists could not get to.
A lot of excitement out here. This is the third wave of runners getting ready to take off here at the start line. You can hear them getting psyched up behind me.
Right now there are 2 cases in Manatee County. The most recent confirmed is an 81-year-old woman who recently traveled outside the U.S. What makes lionfish so dangerous is that they reproduce like crazy and they don't have predators. So if the lion is the king of the jungle, the lionfish is the dictator that takes no prisoners out here. A Polk County fire captain sent Snapchats instead of going in to save her. Nightside's Josh Shadorowitz has read through the entire report. And Josh, the breakdown in communication between the field crews and the folks, that was the entire premise of the Golden Girls right there.
Yes.
And that worked out well for them.
It did. They had a good time.
Experts say if you're going to find a roommate, it's important to use a reputable organization to avoid scam artists out there. I kind of had enough of having a roommate in college.
You had a couple of them.
And thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Katie McCall. Sarasota County has its first 2 cases of COVID-19. The health department says one is a 50-year-old man from New York who is seeking treatment in Broward County. The other is a 70-year-old man from Massachusetts who's been isolated at Sarasota Memorial. That is where reporter Eric Glasser is tonight. And Eric, what do we know about this patient? Some of you have reached out to ask us where specifically all the people who tested positive for coronavirus are. We know which counties they're in, but some people asked why the health department isn't being even more transparent about their locations. So we want you to know this all comes down to the law. Privacy rules protect patients. According to a bulletin issued by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Office of Civil Rights, a health emergency does not change that. We're also keeping you in the know with some other stories that are making headlines today. The former Port Richey mayor was back in court this morning. Dale Massen's trial was scheduled to start on Monday, but as we told you, Pinellas and Pasco courts will not seat juries next week as part of an effort to stop COVID-19. That's really what we need the most. So today we caught up with representatives from Visit Tampa Bay. They tell us they're taking all the precautionary steps to keep you and your family safe and encourage you to spend some time outside. And the smartest man in the room is not in the room. Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins decided to enjoy the weather and work outside today. He's at Paso Grill Beach right now, Bobby. It looks fantastic out there.
That picture, it is perfect, Bobby.
You can look at that all day, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So true.
Good advice.
What a great point. We'll revisit Bobby as much as we can in this newscast. We know a lot of weekend events are canceled, but there are still a lot of things to do. So we're going to show you some of those coming up at 6 o'clock. And we've just learned that Pasco County schools will be closed next week for spring break and closed an additional week after spring break. As well, Hillsborough County is also closing its schools through March 30th. Yeah, they sure will. Who's ready for some good news?
Yes.
Check this guy out. He is somebody you would love to have as your school's principal. This is Jonathan Levan saying goodbye to his beloved beard. This is to reward his Indiana grade school students for reading. They cashed in on a bet with the principal that if they read 490,000 minutes, he would become a clean-shaven guy, and he did it. And we just learned the Florida Department of Education is directing schools all around our state to shut down for 2 weeks. And for many Bay Area schools, this means extending the spring break for another week. We have more information on this on our 10 News app. Ahead of next week's Florida primaries, some local counties are changing polling locations, especially ones that are in nursing homes and assisted living facilities. And you can see those changes on our live blog at WTSP.com. And to keep you informed, we have Dr. Eric Carter. He is a board-certified family physician, and he is with Catalina Lead right now on Facebook Live answering your questions. Hi guys. 10 News reporter Eric Glasser shows you how it works and why some who've tried it are calling it a pathway to independence. One of the biggest challenges that students face today is figuring out what their future is going to be like after school. What do you dread the most about going to the doctor? For many people, it's the wait. 2 Tampa doctors are trying to change that with an app.
Thank you, and you're all set.
We've all been there, the dreaded doctor's waiting room.
I think people waste a lot of time waiting in the doctor's office, and I think it causes extra anxiety.
A place that takes time, something you never get back.
How many times did I leave school early to get to an appointment and not been able to give extra help when all I did is sit here?
It's a helpless feeling for patients and doctors like cardiologist Kevin McCarty.
80% of the frustration that patients have with their physicians is about waiting.
That's why he and a fellow Florida physician, frustrated by waiting room woes, designed an app called Doc Clocker, a modern solution to an old problem.
And it's very common in the medical industry that unexpected things happen and you're going to be waiting.
That if all they knew is how long the wait was, they'd be able to better use their time. Some encounters are going to take 15 minutes, some are going to take 45 minutes. I don't know which one is going to take longer.
When one appointment runs long, there's a domino effect.
Hi there. Sometimes my days will start off on time, and then the end of the day I'll be 50 minutes late.
Using DocClocker, patients can book an appointment online and see the average wait time for that time slot. The day of, they get real-time alerts about what time they're going to be seen. So we decided to put this to the test. I made an appointment on my phone, and it's showing I have to wait 40 to 65 minutes. On the other end, DocClocker co-founder Dr. Eric Carter shows us how anyone in the office can adjust changes to my wait time, and I get an update. I can also start a timer to record my wait time. For people undergoing surgery, the app sends updates from the operating room to a patient's designated loved ones. That idea came from Dr. Carter's own experience.
My father had an open heart surgery that lasted 8.5 hours. So it was my mom, my sister, and I all in the waiting room.
The OR staff can send updates to any family member or friend the patient approves anywhere in the world.
And that's how we came up with the idea. Why don't we allow for this ability in today's day and age to transmit text messages?
That information is encrypted and it vanishes, maintaining privacy.
How nice would it have been if we could just get regular updates every hour, just letting us know what the progress updates are.
DocClocker is still new. Just 40 offices are using it, but patients we talked to loved the concept because just like their health, their time is priceless.
And just because we're retired doesn't mean our time isn't important. You know, we've got things to do. We have mahjong, and we have pinochle, and we have book club, and we go to movies with our friends. So, yeah, it's a great idea.
And the doctors worked on the DocClocker app with Embark Collective. It's an innovation hub backed by Lightning owner Jeff Vinnick to attract tech companies to Tampa Bay. They come here to enjoy nature, not stare at these. 4 months ago, we started asking why these vessels are being allowed to sit, disintegrate, and sink, and no removal orders were being issued. Today, we're seeing results. It's something people here never expected to see. Rusty old boats being towed away, pulled onto shore, and destroyed. When this crew is finished, 11 boats that called this boat graveyard home for years will haunt these waters no more.
I think it's incredible. I think it's great that we have people out there that are cleaning up the waterways here in Florida and providing a safe habitat for all the animals.
These dangerous eyesores are covered in barnacles, rust, algae, and debris. Many are filled with oil and fuel, covered in peeling paint.
It's crazy. They just let them sit out here and sink, and then nobody does anything with them.
We thought it was crazy too. That's why we've been asking FWC about these abandoned boats called derelict vessels since October. Why are these old decaying boats just sitting in the water and not being pulled out and towed away?
These owners of these boats have the right to due process to contest any of these charges against them.
Florida Fish and Wildlife officers patrol this area. The agency opens derelict vessel cases. This is Pinellas County's property, but until the state issues an order for removal, the county's hands are tied. It can't legally touch these boats. There were 18 derelict vessels going nowhere. A month into our investigation, things started to change.
Soon after those reports came out on the news, we got more notices to remove vessels from that area.
In November, the first 2 removal orders landed on Pinellas County Environmental Services Director Andrew Squire's desk. He hired a crew, and just 3 weeks later, these boats that had been sitting here rotting for years were pulled out. The cost was $11,000. When our second story hit the air in December, things got a lot busier. A flood of FWC orders for vessel removals came into the county, allowing it to change the landscape of the boat graveyard.
So on January 14th, we received 6 notifications from law enforcement to remove 6 vessels from that area. And within the next 6 weeks, we had 3 other requests to remove vessels. So that's 9 vessels in a pretty short period of time.
This boat is one of 9 being pulled out of the water just this week. The orders came from FWC between January 14th and February 21st, after our first 2 stories aired. The price tag on this one, $44,000 for those 9 boats. Pinellas County will foot the bill, then submit it to the state for full reimbursement.
We've removed about 11 vessels from that area since November. To get them all removed in that period of time is not that common.
Squires says the county has received calls from boaters who are ecstatic to see how fast things are changing. The boat graveyard is finally in need of a name change.
These boats can be hazardous to other boats, and to get them out of the water is just a satisfying thing.
A charity called Safe Families is filling an important gap, giving parents in crisis the chance to have their kids cared for while they get back on their feet without involving the foster care system. Here's the story of one mom who says turning to this group is the best decision she ever made.
How many coconuts do you have? 1, 2, 3.
When you meet 1.5-year-old Amelia, hold on to your heart.
Oh, you get it. Whoa!
This toddler will steal it.
KLMN. OPQ.
She is a bundle of energy and giggles, smiley, affectionate, confident, and aware of what she wants.
1.
No.
No. A. B.
But it's what Amelia's mother wants for her that brought her to this home. Amelia's mom is young, single, and overwhelmed. She works 2 jobs and has no childcare. So for as long as necessary, Christine, Bill, and Owen Burrow are caring for Amelia as if she were their own.
There's not anybody that has gone through life that doesn't know somebody who has had a tough time or fallen on their face. And most of them are so lucky enough to have friends or family that can help them achieve their goals and get back up on their feet. But what if you don't? What if you don't have all those resources? We are their outlet. We are their help.
Christine and Bill are part of a program called Safe Families, an alternative to foster care that allows parents to voluntarily place their children into a loving home without having to involve the state.
That can help them achieve their goals and get back up on their feet.
Host families go through the same FBI background checks that foster parents do. But unlike foster families, safe families are not paid.
This is what we teach our children for Christmas and all these different holidays, is it's better to give than it is to receive. And this is the best giving I've ever given in my life.
That gets expensive, but with just one call.
Hey, I have a child coming, or I have a child who came. Could use some clothes, 3 tea.
Christine's village of other safe families shares whatever they need.
And usually within 20 minutes, I have 5 or 6 responses, and within a couple of days, I will have clothes for that child, which is significant.
The Burrows have hosted 26 kids so far, knowing that the break they give just one parent might save a child from being left home alone or with someone dangerous.
During stressful situations, that's when things happen, whether it's abuse or neglect.
Calls come in day and night whenever a parent is in crisis.
There's nothing convenient about at 11 o'clock at night somebody showing up at your house with a child and them having to get comfortable before you can even tuck them into bed.
A little more than a year ago, Tamika Taylor was one of those parents. And where were you living?
Between shelters, my truck, my mom's house.
Wow.
It was that way for pretty much the whole year.
4 kids, no job, no hope.
So it started with domestic violence. While I was pregnant with with Eliza here, that's when the troubles, that's when the hardships began. Trying to reach out, trying to struggle to keep a phone on. Better, I didn't have any cash, so it was hard. Being homeless and just trying to find where my next meal was gonna be for my kids.
She heard about Safe Families and took a leap of faith.
And it was the best decision I could have made.
Placing each child with a family she did not know. 10-year-old Demarius went to live with the Burrows, where he fit right in. What did you like about that family?
How they was kind, generous, they wasn't really selfish. Owen, he would share mostly everything with me.
He became like a brother to me. He became we were like the best of friends, but he was like family, and he still is like family.
Tamika received updates on all of her children.
And they came in just like a second family to me and my kids. They showed them so much love. So they made sure to kill all of that skepticism and just overpowered it with love and support And they haven't stopped. They haven't stopped. They've been there.
She also received support on her journey to success.
It allowed me to be able to work. I did find work within a couple of weeks of the kids being gone, and I was able to work. They would even help get me an Uber so I can get to and from work some days.
Within 3 months, Tamika had a job, a home, and her kids back.
It could have been so much worse. They didn't have the help I was needing.
Tamika wants parents who are where she once was to know there's help.
Reach out to safe families. Reach out to safe families. They can definitely help you.
That there are angels among us, like Christine and Bill.
I love those families.
Whose hearts are big, whose doors are open, and who believed in her even before she did.
It felt like magic. It felt really, really good. I'm so happy. I mean, just looking back over what I went through and where I am now, I couldn't imagine it. I couldn't imagine it came out this good. I didn't see it coming, but it came.
It sure did. And by the way, little Amelia, she's back with her mom too, so 2 success stories.